Welcome to the Books Between Friends podcast.
3 lifelong friends,
one shared obsession.
Books.
From epic fantasy to page-turning thrillers.
We dive into the stories we love
And the ones we just can't stop talking about.
So take a seat,
Grab a drink,
and get cozy.
Hey, book friends. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? Well, right now it's actually Thursday when we're recording this, and I'm excited because I have a 3-day weekend ahead of me, and they let us out early this afternoon. So I've already started the 4th of July weekend, and I'm super excited because Jen's going to be coming and hanging out with me this weekend as well. So we have
that's
plans
exciting.
to like hang out at the pool, go to brunch, do some book shopping. So I can't
Love
wait.
it.
I know, and we haven't seen each other since November. At least I got to see
Yeah.
Ethan in March, so
I know.
like I haven't seen Stephanie since we went to the book festival.
Crazy.
I know.
It's been way too long.
Time overdue.
I know,
Overdue.
for real.
For sure.
That's super exciting. So I have a family reunion coming up, so that's how I'm going to spend the 4th of July. Tomorrow is actually my dad's birthday, so we're going to meet in we're traveling to Abilene, and then the family reunion's like an hour away from that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we're just staying there. And so all of us are going to get together there first, celebrate Dad's birthday, and then on Saturday we're going to see the Mexican side of the family reunion.
The loud side of the family.
The loud side, the large side. So
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to your
It'll
dad.
be-
That's exciting. It's gonna be a fun weekend.
yes, yeah, it'll be fun. I always describe him as the most jolliest of Mexican men you'll ever meet.
He is. He honestly is. I love your dad.
That's awesome.
He's so great. Everyone loves Mark.
Yes. Okay, so for me, I've actually been off all week. So like Stephanie said, this is Thursday, so I have been off since last Thursday, basically. And I know it's been amazing. I have used this time to hang out with family. I've had quite a few like errands of my own that I've been trying to catch up on. So like doing that, going to appointments that I can't go to when I'm at work. And then just spending time with my brother here in Fort Worth. And then, of course, like Stephanie said, like I'm going to go hang out with her in Dallas tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. So it's going to be so much fun. And I finished book 6 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I am only 2 more away from being officially caught up. These have been big books, you guys. Like, I feel like I'm reading
Yeah.
Zodiac Academy all over again.
Yeah, they're doorstops. But
They're
yeah.
huge.
Every time you
yeah.
send us like pictures of your monthly reads and stuff, they're like each this thick. It's so
Yes.
crazy.
I know my TBR is gonna maintain Dungeon Crawler Carl for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just carry this one over into
Yep.
next month. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna carry this one over again into next month. Oh, I finally started a new one. Fantastic.
Well, and then like ahead of time, I had bought all of the audiobooks on Audible. So like there was like a 60-70% sale on each one of those. So like I went in, I used up all my credits first to get like the first however many. And then I went in and bought them on sale. So I have all 8 right now on my Audible. So like that really helps whenever like when I'm driving, I have really long
Yeah.
commutes. When I'm like visiting family, it's on audiobook. And then when I'm hanging out at home, like then I'll read the physical copy. But for the most
Yeah.
part, like that's how I've been catching up. That's how I've been able to get through these books because they are so big. But the audiobooks also are amazing. So definitely recommend
Yeah.
both. I cannot wait to see what happens in these last 2.
Okay, so that's our little catch up on our lives. So next, I'm gonna let not Ethan, sorry. I'm gonna let Jen give us our quick spoiler warning.
All right, you guys, before we get started, quick spoiler warning. If you're listening to this episode, we are assuming you've read all of the Hero of Ages because we are done
All
with
of
these
it.
chapters, you guys. Like, I cannot believe we have made it to the end of this amazing trilogy. So just cautious, if you are listening to our episode, just make sure you've already read this ending because this ending is epic and we do not want to ruin it for you. So if you haven't had a chance to read, please be sure to go and finish it, then come join our discussion. And then of course, you guys, as always, if you've been loving our book chats, we would really, really, really appreciate it, you guys, if you left us a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps more people find us. It keeps our little community growing, and we would love to hear what you think about our podcast. And also, if you do leave us a review, we would love to give you a shout out on our next episode.
Absolutely.
Please. Okay, so before we dive into our discussion, I'm just going to read us a quick summary of this last section so we can get caught up on where we're at. So, as the world collapses under ash, earthquakes, and endless Kalos armies, Sazed uncovers the truth hidden within the terrorist religion and the first contract of the Khandra. He discovers that the legendary Adium cache is actually Ruin's physical body hidden away by the Lord Ruler and protected by the Khandra in their homeland for centuries to keep Ruin from reclaiming his full powers. Meanwhile, Elend finally solves the mystery of the mists. The mysterious mist sickness wasn't killing people, it was snapping people into new allomancers. As thousands of Kolos converge on the terrorist refuge, Ellen realizes that those who were sick the longest are all Adium mistings now. He leads them into a final battle, burning away Ruin's hidden power to prevent him from ever reclaiming it. At the same time, Vin faces Ruin directly after Marsh tears out her earring, the hemalurgic spike Ruin had been using to influence her entire life. Vin is finally able to draw upon the mist and take in preservation's power. She ascends into a god like Ruin and battles him on a cosmic scale, ultimately sacrificing herself to destroy him. Although Vin's sacrifice defeats Ruin, the world is still dying. In the end, Sazed realizes that every religion he preserved contained part of the truth. He takes up both the powers of Ruin and preservation, uses the knowledge stored in his metal mines to restore the world to what it should have been, and fulfills the prophecy as the true hero of ages. The trilogy ends with a bittersweet farewell to Vin and Elend, who sacrifice to save humanity, while Spook, Breeze, Ham, and Demu and the other survivors begin rebuilding the world restored to its true form. And that's the end, you guys.
Y'all, I'm not
shit
about this. It was so much. I felt really numb after I finished because that was such an epic ending. Like, I immediately wanted to discuss it as soon as I finished it. But I was trying to save all my thoughts because there was just so many. There were so many big reveals. And Ethan, you got a lot of really good theories on there. Like, you were hitting them left and right. You did a great job.
Yeah, you called so much stuff. It was crazy.
Did Nick help you?
No. But honestly, like, again, I'll say it again. I was reading this and it made me think of these and I was like, I could see this, and this happening. Mm-hmm. It still did not feel predictable at all whatsoever.
No,
I enjoyed reading it so much. It was so fun, even though it was not fun for our characters.
Right.
It was so entertaining. Like, I just could not. In fact, when I started reading this last portion, I did not stop.
Yeah.
I think maybe I stopped after the first 2 chapters, but after that, once I picked it back up, I couldn't put it down, and I had to just finish it. It was so good. I loved this ending.
It was really great.
I thought it was so funny, Jen, when you finished it, you texted me, I feel empty.
I do. I felt so empty.
That's perfect way to describe that.
Oh, dude, I mean, we read this freaking epic series, 3 books, right? It took us since last year, right? Because we've been like reading it here and there, and we got all of the answers. We got everything laid out for us, and it was not the ending. I mean, part of it, I kind of figured it was coming. Like I told you guys, this was dark. I felt like the end of the world was inevitable at this point, but it still was a great ending. I wasn't upset about anything. I felt like it was right. I'm like, yes, this all had to happen this way. Yeah. You know?
Yep.
Every time you kept saying, please don't let anything happen to Elend or Vin, I kept like I guess
we'll get to
that.
Ready. We'll get to that. My heart was completely broken, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into our discussion. As a reminder, we do what we like to call a 3-2-1 structure. So we're each going to talk about 3 things that stuck out to us, and then we're going to talk about 2 character moments, and then instead of one theory or prediction, since this is the last discussion of this book, we're going to share our final reviews. So, starting with 3 things that stuck out to us, Ethan, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, so I feel like a lot of what we're going to talk about today, all 3 of us are going to talk about today. Forgive us if we overlap, but since I'm going first, I'm just gonna like briefly cover them, and I feel like we can probably talk in depth as a group later as each of us go. But
Sure.
the first thing I want to talk about is Ellen and Yeoman, because I thought this was a great comparison between the two characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment where they're walking through Fadrix together. I thought it was a great way to compare the two. Had things not changed for Elend the way that they did throughout the series as we read his character, Yeoman is very much who he could have become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like a great mirror moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's even, I know we're going to talk about this later, but he's even giving Yeoman advice at one point on how to lead. I'm like, oh my gosh, Ellen, look at
Yeah.
you.
I love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So evolved.
Just,
I know.
truly, truly great. So I know we'll talk about that more, but the second point I want to bring up here is just the finality of this all.
Yeah.
And it's just like we obviously know this is the third book in this trilogy. It's going to end here. And to me, it felt very much Battle of Hogwarts like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Like,
we
this
know
is
we're
the
ramping
final
up to the
stand.
end.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Characters that we have learned to love
Mhm.
are dying, and then we have to suffer through turning the page to find out who it is.
Yeah.
It's gut wrenching for sure.
Yeah.
But to me, Jen, you said that you just felt empty, and I think that's a fantastic way to put
Yeah.
it. It felt, I'll add to that, it felt complete, right?
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah.
it felt complete. But yeah, as far as the battle goes here at the very end, I love how everyone had their own purpose, no matter where they were in the landscape, like everyone had a purpose to serve, and reading how it all came together was just magical.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on this final battle here?
Okay, so that's actually one of my points. So I'm just going to jump into it. It was really more about Vin and Ellen's individual final battles that I really wanted to bring up. I think that each of their battles were epic. I honestly don't have any other words besides epic to describe each one of those. I was in complete awe reading each one of those battle scenes. First, let's start with Vin's battle with the 13 Inquisitors, you guys. She took on 13 Inquisitors
all down.
by herself. Like,
how did I forget about that?
Crazy.
oh my God. And then the torture after kicking ass, the torture that she endured under Marsh's hand was just brutal. Like, my
That was
stomach was in knots reading it because I felt for Vin. It was so hard to read. Every single bone that he broke, like, I was feeling it for her. It was so hard. And then the battle with Ruin, I thought that was pretty epic in itself. Like, she became a god and still was able to fight Ruin. Holy shit. She quite literally gave everything in the end.
Literally,
and then,
yeah.
And then Ellen's battle, oh my God, his battle against the Koloss with all of his ADM mistings. I was just like, oh yes, like F yes. Like, I was so excited. And again, epic is the only word I can think of when I was reading that. Reading how he just charged into battle with all of his his crew. It was just an amazing scene to read. And his final FU to Ruin by using every single ADM bead was freaking genius. He was just a true leader through and through, fighting along with his men in the end against the impossible. And it was just epic. That's how I describe the final battles. Epic.
Yeah, there's no other words.
Yeah.
Thinking back to the first time I read this, I think maybe Ellen's battle struck me the most because it started with him giving a speech to the ADM Mistings that they had just discovered this power
Great
of theirs
speech.
in the caves. And he basically told them straight up, we are going out there to die.
Yeah.
You know, like there is no winning this battle. There are tens of thousands of Koloss out there and there's no way we're going to beat them. But the purpose of this battle is to make our final stand. And every second that we delay their win is a victory. That alone, and the fact that all of the ADM Mistings, knowing that they were going out there to die, they still were ready to back him up and do that. It was insane. And then as the battle was going on, they kept going back for more ADM and just not stopping through the night. And the descriptions of the essentially mountains of Koloss bodies piling up that they had actually killed. It was insane. And like you said, there's no other term but epic.
Yeah. It was insane.
It made me think at first, I was like, okay, he's giving this like really fierce speech, and he's saying that they're going to die. Okay, but is something truly this epic? If that were going to be the case, like, it gives you a little bit of hope
It
that
does, yeah.
he might pull something out at the end. And then you learn, like, yes, as a reader, you're like, okay, well, that's genius that he's using Ruin's body against him.
Yeah.
But then the reveal goes further, and he's like, no, Vin is like, this was the whole purpose. They are truly going to die.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, like, this last stand is just to use up your whole body.
Yeah.
So that's fierce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genius on his end, because he knew he wasn't going to win. He knew there was no way out of this, but he still wanted to do something to be able to help everybody else, right?
Give them
He
a
didn't
chance.
want to make Ruin powerful, because then everybody else would be pretty much effed.
Yeah. It's over at that point.
All right. So going back to my third point, this is my last point that stuck out to me. And Vin and Ellen, we're already talking about them a lot. We're going to keep on talking about them. But one thing that I wanted to point out, as someone that knows absolutely nothing about Era 2, is Sazed in his letter. Also, by the way, symbolism here of the letter, because he doesn't have to write anything in steel anymore.
Love it.
Because
Yeah.
this is after everything is said and done. He wrote Spook a letter. And at the end, he talks about how Vin and Ellen deserve a rest, which to me automatically implied that he could bring them back if he so chose. So do we think that they might come back in Era 2? I don't know.
I don't know, because I felt like he even said, I tried to bring them back, but it turns out you can't bring back their souls even if you fix their body.
Well, in the letter, he also said, I'll probably get better at this as I come
True,
to
he did say
understand
that.
this power more.
True.
So potentially it didn't completely close that door. But yeah, I haven't read beyond the first trilogy in the Cosmere, so that would be awesome. But he also mentioned that he wanted to let Spook know that Vin and Ellen were happy where they were. So
Yeah.
if it were up to them, I don't know if they would come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, Ethan, like, I wouldn't put it past Brandon Sanderson. He blew my mind this entire trilogy. He's capable of anything, really, at this point.
Yeah. If there's anything
that
you
would
need
be
to
so
know about
cool.
Brandon Sanderson, it's nobody is safe and anything can happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything's on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got rid of two of my favorite characters.
Two of the biggest
Insane.
characters.
Yeah.
I'm still not mad at him,
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that actually leads me into my second point. I already mentioned the first one, which was the Vin and Ellen's individual battles. The second one was each of their deaths. So as much as this freaking crushed me, because I will tell you, it crushed me, okay? I was very upset. I had to stop reading when I saw the line, Ellen's head came off, or whatever. Like, I had to stop and give myself a moment, because he's my dude, y'all. It's like if you killed off Dorian. Like, he is my dude. I cannot. I still knew it, though. This whole trilogy has been so dark and heavy, with little specks of happiness here and there, but overall, it's been emotionally devastating. I knew the world would end, and I knew that we would lose someone big. I mean, heck, Kelsier died in book 1, y'all. I'm honestly surprised that they both lasted this long, because it just needed to happen. Like, Vin and Ellen gave so freaking much to keep their people alive, y'all. They literally gave everything to make sure everyone else had a better ending. And speaking of Spook's letter, the one that Sazed wrote to Spook, this is what he said, and this is kind of what we already talked about, but I love it. I love what he said. He said, I tried to bring them back, but apparently fixing their bodies doesn't return their souls. I will get better at this with time, I expect. However, be assured that I have spoken with our friends, and they are quite happy where they are. They deserve a rest, I think. And honestly, when was the last time Ellen and Vin slept? They both can burn
Literally,
pewter, so they have been keeping their bodies awake, probably for far longer than they should have.
Well, Vin was doing it ever since the Well of Ascension. Remember?
Yeah.
Like she just kept her computer going constantly.
So as much as I didn't want anything to happen to my two favorite characters, like, they needed a rest, y'all.
Yeah.
This is what they needed, and they did everything possible to make sure everything was good. I do love that Sazed was able to put their bodies back together, especially attaching Ellen's head. Thank you, Sazed. And put
needed.
And gave them a final rest in the flowers. Like, I thought that was beautiful,
That was
symbolic. Great. It was just Great ending for them. I definitely teared up reading that. And then when Spook found them laying together, like, it made me think it had to be both. Both had
Yeah.
to die. One wouldn't have been able to live without the other. It
Mhm.
had to be this way. And that's exactly what Vin was saying when she attacked Ruin. She was like,
Mhm.
I only lived for Ellen. And as soon as Ellen died, she sacrificed herself.
Had no more purpose to live. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, y'all, when I was reading this reminded me of the ending of Blood over Brighthaven, where we wanted
Okay.
more for Sayana and Tamil. Remember, we were like, that just
Yeah.
felt, it
It
wasn't
was
satisfying.
unsatisfying. Yeah.
Yeah. They deserved better too, but it just wasn't meant to be. And the same thing with Ellen and Vin. Like, I wish they would have had more time together. I wish they would have grown old together. I mean, they were basically teenagers, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't meant to be. Like, this is how the world was.
Yeah. Because we know that Sazed was able to communicate with them somehow
Yeah.
wherever they've passed on to. It seems like they're together and happy now. So
Yeah.
that's
I
comforting.
love that. Yeah, I do love that. What did y'all think of that?
I think you're
Yeah.
right. It is a fitting end.
Yeah.
Fitting into both of them. And as soon as I saw Ellen's head roll,
I know.
I knew, I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
Ruin, you effed up.
You
That's
done goofed.
the one thing. Yeah, that's the one thing you don't do. You know, you're
Yep.
dealing
Yeah.
with Vin now, not your old pal Preservation.
Yep.
Right, right.
And she alluded to that too. She was like, I'm not Preservation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And this, yeah, like you're saying, this is though you just did the one thing that tied me to this world. I've
Yep.
got nothing left to lose. So let's
Yeah.
play. And yeah, it was not a good moment for Ruin
Yeah.
at that point. And
Yeah.
just seeing how that all came together, I was like, oh, so heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
kill him, Vin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It
I
was
loved
very
it.
much like, what was that movie I was thinking of? It already slipped my mind, but essentially just like a story of revenge for your true love. So
Yeah.
in that moment, she realized now's the time to give it all because I have nothing left. And so
Yeah.
that was the one thing that made sure Ruin couldn't end the world.
Yeah. Okay. So that was my second thing. The third thing was Sazed curing Spook and making him Mistborn and leaving him in charge, you guys. Like,
Yeah.
Love it.
oh my gosh.
Love it.
So, along in the same letter that I mentioned already, this is also what Sazed said. He said, in this, of course, he's talking to Spook. He said, "You did well. Know that the message you sent via Captain Goradel saved us all in the end. The people will need leadership in the years to come. Likely they will look to you. I'm sorry that I cannot be there in person to help you, but know I am around. I have made you Mistborn and healed the damage that you did to your body. I hope you don't mind. It was actually Kelsier's request. Consider it a parting gift from him. Watch over them for me." And y'all, I would never have guessed that this was Spook's fate.
Yeah.
He was such a secondary character, easily missed, even weird at times. His growth, and you guys both mentioned this in the last episode, his growth was huge, and I am just so happy for him. But also, what a task he was given. You're in charge of rebuilding this new world. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. It's so amazing. So I'm going to make a lot of comparisons to other stories here. And we're already done Blood over Brighthaven, Hogwarts.
Yeah.
This actually kind of reminded me of the Chronicles of Narnia a little bit, but the
yeah.
Magician's Nephew, where there's a world being created and, do with it what you will. And
Yeah.
this is Spook's
Right.
moment where he's getting to do with it what he will. And because it is basically like a brand new world.
Yeah.
There's not a single person here that knows what the world used to be like.
Yeah.
And so they're seeing all this for the first time: green grass, flowers,
Flowers.
a blue
Yeah.
sky. And
Yellow
so,
sun.
yeah, what are they going to make of this? And
Yeah.
honestly, Spook is the reason that I want to dive further into Era 2 and see what the world does become.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's going to lead this. And yeah, I mean, just seeing him come into his own in this book alone, amazing. This is an amazing
Yeah.
end for him as well. Like, I love it. And Beldra, he gets to be with his Beldra.
I know.
Yay.
That made
I'm
me
so
so
excited.
happy. He deserved to be happy, y'all. He deserved
for
to have
sure.
somebody, you
Yeah.
know?
And that
Yeah.
Kelsier's looking out for him.
I know.
know.
Like, everything that Spook ever wanted. He wanted to be Mistborn. He wanted to be important. He wanted to love somebody. He wanted the approval of Kelsier. Everything that he
All
wanted,
that.
he got.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so for him. Again, y'all, I would have never guessed Spook's fate.
Yeah.
I did not think this is how he was going to end up in our story. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I think the one part that stuck out to me most was the fact that Kelsier, like you said, was looking out for him in the end.
Yeah.
Because he said throughout the book, well, he thought about it a lot, how much he looked up to Kelsier and how he thought that, he wasn't necessarily one of the chosen ones in the crew. He was like a default member because his uncle Clubs was a part of the crew, and so
Yeah.
he didn't think he mattered to Kelsier.
Yeah.
But obviously, this proves him wrong in that Kelsier did care about him.
Yeah.
He's the only reason your heart is full at the end of this book, honestly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
true.
even though they died, like, I'm just still happy that Ben and Ellen are together. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have been very dissatisfied if only one of them had died. I think that would have been a worse ending. Like, the fact that they both died, I don't want to say it makes me happy, but it makes me happy that they're together. You know?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
So, yeah. No,
Wherever
it
they're
was,
at now, they're together at least.
yeah. And they can sleep.
Yes, they can rest now.
Please go to sleep. Y'all need to sleep.
Yeah, no more pewter. Okay, so my first thing that stood out was essentially, I want to know what you guys think, because I was getting the sense here that from Kimpar that maybe Ruin had already somehow gotten a hold of him before the end, like that final scene where the Khandra finally decided to take out their blessings. Because he, just like the way he was behaving and how he tried to usurp the first generation and locked them up and then tried to take leadership of the Khandra. It just felt very similar to me to the way that Quellion and Spook were acting when they had the spikes in them and Ruin was influencing them. So it just felt very much like Ruin's influence on Kimpar specifically. What do you guys think of that?
I don't think so. I think that Kanpar was just a straight up jerk, and he really just did that for power. Like, he was
Yeah.
power hungry. He's been power hungry. We kind of got that sense in the very beginning when we met him, when he was being condescending to Tensoon. Like, I
Yeah.
think he just wanted to be in power. And I don't think that he was being manipulated early on, because it was very obvious that Ruin didn't know about that place. So he didn't
True.
know that there
Yeah.
could be people that he could manipulate, The minute he found out about it, of course, he took over.
Is when he tried to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I also think you could view this as purposefully ambiguous too, because this is the ELA teacher in me coming out like discussing things. Because if that's true, or if what Jen is saying is true, then it begs the question, because Mist Wraiths and Khandra, they are not, human besides the first generation. They're something completely different, and it begs the question: what does humanity do naturally? So you have
Yeah.
the first generation and the other generations that are not fifth and second that follow what they're supposed to be doing, and they want to be faithful Khandra. And then you have others that are looking out for them selfishly, like, I don't, screw that, I don't want to. I want to hang on to as much as I can. So
Yeah.
it gives you that sense of like humanity can either be good or it can be bad. So I think it could be purposely ambiguous just to create conversations like these, because I think
Yeah.
Sanderson is that thoughtful in how he writes
Yeah.
something.
He is.
Yeah, well, I guess like you're right. Like the whole idea of giving them their blessings, it also creates their consciousness and gives them a freedom of will. So you're going to have different personalities come out of that. So, maybe Kempar was just leaned towards more the power hungry type of
Yeah.
Khandra.
And you know what? I think Sazed is the one that mentioned that too. He was just like, oh, so this happens in every society.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As he was getting locked up.
Yeah. That
Do
was
you
crazy
think-
to read too.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Do you think we're going to get more Khandra in Second Era, considering that they have to have hemalurgic spikes to become a
I
thing?
don't know.
I don't
I
know
guess it wasn't
because
mentioned that there were any creatures that were created of hemalurgy after Sazed fixed everything. That wasn't
yeah,
mentioned. So it doesn't mean that it's a no, you know?
it was also
Because
very
he still has
vague.
ruin within himself, right? Like, so
Right,
there's
yeah.
Right.
still, yeah.
Yeah. It was also very vague as to
Interesting.
what happened to the Khandra when all the
Right.
final battles happened.
Yeah, because they just kind of reverted back to mist wraiths, but like what
Hmm.
happened to them after that? Who
Because
knows?
I was actually curious whenever Ven took in the mist and became
Hmm.
preservation, if the mist wraiths were going to go with her. I thought they were going to power her up even more, you know? Because I'm like, okay, so they became mist wraiths. They're part of the mist, kind of. So I thought that maybe like it was going to help power her power up.
Mm. Yeah,
So
they were
that's
just
I
kind of
kind
what
of
thought
I
so
not
thought.
mentioned
too.
after they all took their blessings out. Like
Yeah, it
you
wasn't
kind of didn't
mentioned.
see them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that too, which implies that they could have been really devastating towards Vin and Ellen's mission
Hmm.
because they don't contribute more to Vin's power. They just don't let themselves be influenced by ruin.
Right.
Right.
And so like that was another moment I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's heavy." That's
Yeah,
so
Hmm.
heavy, especially after we come to love Ten Soon so much.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And all of a sudden he's fighting Sazed because Ruin is trying to take control of
Hmm.
him. And then all of a sudden Sazed wakes up and he's a mist wraith again.
I
Like,
Hmm.
know. I know. There is just so much that happened. Like I have a
Yeah.
list on my phone of additional points because there's just too much. I'm like, I want to talk about this, but I also want to talk about this, but I also want to make sure we touched on this. Like, it's all
Right.
good.
Okay, so my second point was the creation of humans. So when Vin and Ruin were fighting, like as in their godlike forms, Ruin was telling her that he didn't understand why preservation wanted to make humans. And he said he wanted to create something intentionally unbalanced, something that could choose to preserve at some times, but ruin at others, something in the form of that which we'd seen before. So, like that last line really kind of stuck out to me. What does he mean by that which we'd seen before? Immediately, my brain went to like whatever the earth was before, the in its current state is what he means. But okay, so there were humans back then, but they're different from the humans now. Preservation created these humans. So, what happened to the old humans? I thought they had just been changed. You know what I mean?
What would it be? Do you think he was talking about just humans in general before Allomancers became a thing, before Kolos became a thing? Because all of those were created from humans, from the death of humans, right? Inquisitors too, right? So maybe he meant like what we'd seen before, where it was like humans untouched, humans that were just humans like us, right? Without all these powers,
Without,
without all
yeah.
of these things that came into being, because all of
Mhm.
that was created whenever the Lord Ruler came into power as a
Right.
part of a way to protect himself and a way to create an
Hmm.
army and things like that. So what if that's what he meant before any of that became a thing? Before the metals, right?
Hmm.
this could
But he's talking
also
about
just
what
be,
preservation created.
Right. So that was
Remember,
before.
preservation created humans, allegedly, but he was saying preservation wanted to create something in the form of that which we'd seen before. There was something else before that creation of these humans. That's how I read it.
do you, yeah, do you think it could be a nod to Sanderson's like bigger world of the Cosmere?
Of course.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's where my mind went. I
Yeah.
was like,
I
I
just
wonder
need
if
to
we're
read
alluding to
more.
something. Yeah, damn it.
Yeah.
Gotta read.
Some of the clips that we posted, we've had a lot of people, or not a lot, but we've had a few people go on and comment that we need to read Mistborn. Was it the Secret History or something like
Yeah,
that, which
Secret
is
History.
Right,
next?
you were saying that
Hmm.
last episode.
Yeah, and
It's like a
a
novella
lot of
before the
them were
next.
saying that it explains preservation and ruin and what they were like before.
Okay,
So it
which
could,
leads me to my next point, which
yeah,
is about so essentially what they were before.
yeah,
So when Vin finally defeated Ruin, both of their bodies appeared next to Elend, dead on the pile of Koloss. And last time I brought up the description of Preservation's body, which
mm-hmm,
was short of stature, black hair, prominent nose. And then it described Ruin as a man with red hair. And
mm-hmm,
so I'm like, okay, it sounds like these were two humans that took the powers of ruin and preservation. But whenever Sazed was taking the powers into himself, he thought to himself, ruin and preservation were dead, and their powers had been joined together. In fact, they belonged together. How had they been split? So that's also my question is like, what happened here? Like these, apparently there was maybe like a hero of ages before ruin and preservation were like separate entities. And I just need to know, how did they get split up? How did these two humans take in the power separately? It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And again, I probably just need to read the Secret History book.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know.
Let's do that next.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but when I read that line about how they belong together, how had they been split, I'm like, okay, here's this whole thing about balance. We had so many theories on what the balance was, which we were completely off on, which is fine. It happens. But this is what probably Sanderson meant by there needing to be a balance, right? Not being separated, but being together to create that balance together in one body.
In one.
Is what I took from that,
So like, how did they split it up?
Yeah, I want to know that too. Yeah.
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 So I guess
that
we got to read.
probably is answered in the Secret History.
Yeah, it's like, I guess we have to read the next one then.
Okay, so that was our 3 things that stuck out to us. Next, we're going to talk about 2 character moments. We'll start with Ethan.
All right. So last episode, I said that there's still something about Vin that is yet to be revealed.
You did. You did.
And it's kind of revealed here. So as soon as she became the Mist, right? Like that's the revelation here. She became the Mist. And she became Preservation's successor.
Yeah.
As soon as that happened, I was like, well, she's not the hero of ages.
Yeah.
And
right.
But to me, it was very reminiscent, again, comparing to another story, of Harry Potter with Dumbledore talking to Snape at the end of Deathly Hallows, because it made us believe that she was chosen just because of the right circumstances that in her life. And it reminded me of the conversation like Dumbledore and Snape have, that Snape is kind of reprimanding Dumbledore, is that you've raised him like a pig for slaughter to die at the right moment. And I was like, man, Vin, honestly, like never stood a chance, really. Like this was always meant to be her life. Yeah. And like that sucks. But I mean, it's happy, I guess, because she and Ellen are together, but like just,
But see, her and Ellen are together because she killed Ruin and killed her godlike self too along the way. Had she stayed Preservation, she probably wouldn't have been able to be with Ellen, because she couldn't even talk to Ellen,
And Sazed wouldn't have been able to take in both powers and save the world.
Yeah.
No,
I thought that too.
It was heavy.
It was very heavy. And yeah, just to find out that the only reason that she was chosen is because her sister was a seeker and her crazy mom killed the baby and put the earring into Vin. Like, because of that, your whole fate was to die in the future?
I'm of the opinion that their mother got spiked, and that's why she killed the baby sister.
Because she was hearing voices.
That. Yeah.
Oh, that could be it, totally.
Or like it probably took over her body, similar to how Marsh was like consciously not wanting to break her body, but Ruin was forcing him to.
Well, Ruin called, I don't know if it was Ruin or if it was just one of those like epigraph things that said like, which turned out to be Sazed, all the epigraphs, right?
Yeah.
He was retelling the story.
That's essentially the book that he left for Spook under the letter.
So I got from that it just said Vin's mom was crazy. Like it didn't specify anything else. It just said that she was one crazy person and that she had killed the baby who was a seeker. And that's how Vin was able to pierce the copper clouds, because she had double bronze basically.
Yeah, I know he said that, but I still feel like that was because of Ruin.
I do too, because that would imply
based
that
on
both
vibes.
Ruin and Preservation were after Vin, which again implies some kind of balance, that both of them wanted her. They sensed something was with her, like all the right events happened as like, and that goes to show again that she just really did not stand a chance. She was always meant to be in this.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it last time. Like if she had chosen Zane, like she almost did last time in the last book, she would have been Ruin's tool.
Yeah. She would have been both of theirs.
Preservation's.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's crazy. I'm just glad she at least got some happiness with Ellen, and that
Yeah.
they
Yes.
met very early on, you know?
mhm.
So
They at least had
that made me
some
happy.
time together,
Yeah.
and now they get to be together in the after, whatever it is.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my second point, it's time to talk about him. Let's talk specifically about Cezanne.
Yes.
My guy. I even thought to myself this whole time, I thought to myself, these epigraphs, they sound like Cezanne, but he just doesn't say, I think,
Right.
after
Which is his
everything.
little thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, so that made me immediately think that it's not Cezanne. But of course, he doesn't have to say that anymore because he just
He
knows.
knows.
So, but every time I thought it could be Cezanne, I just found a reason to contradict it. I was like, no, it's not Cezanne. He's not saying his
Yeah.
little thing that he usually says. But he's never mentioned by name in the epigraph, so I don't know why I didn't hold true to what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And plus, Vin makes a very compelling argument because she can take in the mist still. And so you think that she could be the hero of ages because of that reason.
Yeah.
But then she's finally mentioned in the epigraphs as a girl that could, as a girl, not by name, but as a girl that could take in the mist and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess it is Cezanne.
not
And
her.
kudos to Sanderson for keeping me guessing this whole time. But
Yep.
what I thought was so incredibly well done, and it's my favorite aspect of the story, I think, is that his search for truth in the religion, like
Yeah.
you think that he's going to find something in his search, and he
Yeah.
finally does, is
Yeah.
just in no way I would have expected. And
Yeah.
what a cool way to give that whole search purpose. Like he sees the truth here and the truth there and the truth here and there, and then he uses that to fix the Lord Ruler's mistakes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, hero of ages. You did it, and I'm pleasantly surprised.
So
It was just really, really good.
remember when I messaged you, Ethan, and I said, "Don't go on this clip. Somebody spoiled who the hero of ages is." They put that it would say Zed, and I had texted Stephanie about it, and I was just like, now I can't theorize on who I think the hero of ages is
Yeah.
anymore because of the spoiler, because I didn't know if it was true or not. Like I was taking it to heart that it was true, but then I'm like, what if they're just being assholes and putting a false truth? I don't know. Either way, I was upset that that was spoiled for me. However, that being said, once I got to that review, it was still an amazing scene to read. Like, I absolutely loved him using every religion and putting that world, just like you said, putting that world back together. And I'm just like, oh my God, here it is. Here's what he's been doing for 3 full books. Like, that's
whole
how he was
purpose.
able.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how he was able to put this world together, this world that nobody knew about, but it's been there this entire time. Like, even though it was spoiled for me, it was still an amazing reveal.
Yeah.
Like, I loved that.
I think what I particularly loved about it being Cezanne is his humility at all times, where up until the final moment, he just, even in his head, he was thinking like, I'm not a hero. This can't be me. It's not me.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he just kept thinking back to the text of the prophecies in the Conjure religion and realizing, no, like it has to be me. And he still was resisting it up until the final moment. And then
Yeah.
like just the way that the story opens, I am unfortunately the hero of ages, is such a Cezanne line. And I remember like reading the end and thinking to myself, how did I not see that it was Cezanne? Like,
Yeah.
Right?
nobody else would
Yeah.
have written it that way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And like we guessed basically, we guessed Vin and Ellen for the longest time, you know,
Yeah.
and we kept like holding true to that. But I, kept saying like, it's just too obvious, but who could it be? Like, who could it be? I would have never thought Cezanne.
I never did.
Yeah. It was just, it was so well done. Like I'm so speechless about it. Like
Yeah.
he's just so good.
Yeah.
It's
And I love
incredible.
the whole reveal was fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, going back to your comment, guys, just standard PSA, we are reading these in real time with you, so please keep our comments spoiler free.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Please, like we're requesting so heartfeltly, like this, we are reading these in real time with you. That's the whole premise of our show. So
Yes.
be kind in the comments.
Like, yes, please. So my first thing is on Sazed and the First Generation. So I chose two kind of like minor character moments that I felt like were just stood out among this like huge epic final, scenes. But they
Okay.
were still two very good ones that I really liked. The first one was in chapter 71 when Sazed was able to sit down with the first generation Condor people. That honestly made my heart so happy because Sazed was finally able to just sit and get some real answers. I feel
Hmm.
like he's been having to do this all alone, basically. Even when he had that small amount of time with Tyndall, he did a lot of the searching on his own. And so when
Hmm.
he finally got to talk to like-minded people, it just made me happy. In the end, even though it wasn't exactly what he was searching for, like he still got a lot of perspective from them, which ultimately helped guide him in the end. So it was just a cute
Yeah.
moment. Loved it. I wanted to bring it up. What did you guys think?
Well, I was so proud of him whenever he first approached the Khandra. You remember they have this like audience chamber where the second generation stands on a podium and the first generation is hidden away in alcoves and they don't even speak. And he was telling them, "I am the announcer," and they were refusing that he was the announcer. And the way he stood his ground and made them hear him out in that
Mm-hmm.
moment was so great, because Sazed, like I mentioned before, he's so humble and
Yeah.
he's so kind and polite, but like not for this. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
"No, we have to figure this thing out because the world is literally ending."
Yeah.
We ain't got the time. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And call out to what I said in our last book discussion, The Well of
Yeah.
Ascension. And I made the prediction that Sazed was going to be Worldbringer.
Yep. And he
Yeah.
And it
was.
was. And it was very fleeting here. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger of a deal than it was, but what's more big of a deal than being the hero of ages?
Right.
Literally.
But the first generation, like one of them just calls him Worldbringer, and that's all he did. But I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, I did it.
I'm telling you, you had some really good theories that came true.
Yeah. Ethan, you caught so many things. I was so
Yeah.
impressed.
Okay.
It was just so good. I loved it.
It was.
Yeah.
It was really good. Okay, so my second point was Hamp reuniting with his family
Oh,
finally. So in the epilogue, when everybody just started coming out of their hiding places and Ham immediately saw his family, that made my heart so freaking happy. Y'all, he
yeah.
kept them hidden this entire time for
Hmm.
fear of something happening to them. And in the end, that wait paid off. Like,
Oh my
I
gosh, yeah.
mean, he kept talking about how he hasn't seen his family in so long, how
Hmm.
they're going to remain hidden until everything gets better.
Yeah.
And when they got together, I was just like, oh, thank you, Brandon Sanderson, for giving us something
I
sweet in the
know.
end, because that was such a great moment with his wife and his kids there.
Hmm.
I'm just like, I love this. I love
Yeah.
this so much.
Yeah, like even back in book one, and I think before then, he he had them living in a completely different city away from where he
Mm-hmm.
was
Mhm.
to keep
Yeah.
them safe, but that also meant he never saw them. So
Yeah.
this is the first we're seeing them in this whole
Yeah.
series. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the part that almost made me tear up. I was like,
Oh
yes, Vin
yeah.
and Ellen, of course, like that's
Yeah.
sad. But I was like, oh my God, like there is like a complete family unit still intact, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Ham, and he
Yeah.
Yeah.
gets like he
So good.
finally gets to be happy and actually
And
see his
safe.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
so great.
I loved it.
Yeah, that was great. Okay, so for my first character moment, it was the one you were talking about, Ethan, when Ellen was talking to Yeoman about leading an army. So Yeoman was telling him theory on what the most important thing an army needs is, and he was talking about supplies and food and stuff like that. And Ellen, he could clock exactly what text he was quoting because that was, like you said, if he hadn't had the real life experience that he now has had in the past couple of years. And he responded to Yeoman in a really great way, like not really like making him feel dumb, but just telling him, based on my experience, this is actually what's important for an army. And he said, one thing that we scholars tend to forget about Yeoman is the impact emotion can have on a battle. It isn't solely about food, shoes, and clean water, necessary as those are. It's about hope, courage, and the will to live. Soldiers need to know that their leader will be in the fight, if not killing enemies, then directing things personally from behind the lines. They can't think of him as an abstract force on a tower somewhere, watching out a window and pondering the depths of the universe. So, yeah, just like you said, Ethan, I thought this was such a great way to showcase how much Elend has grown as a leader throughout this series. He went from scholar and theorist and, like, had to stumble and fumble through his learning how to be a king, but he now is exactly what the people needed, and it was just such a great moment to really see that stand out.
Yeah, I mean, he took that and he fought till the very end, basically. He could have easily just ordered his men to do this.
Yeah.
He could have just easily been like, hey, he fought with them till the very bitter end,
Exactly.
He was a great leader. He was a great leader through and through. I freaking love Elend and the person that he became. It was just so great to see him grow from the quiet noble who likes to read to this amazing emperor,
Yeah, and I think what really solidifies that is even Yeoman in the end was, you know what, Venture, I'm impressed by you, basically.
Yeah.
And that was the moment I was like, okay. And so I'd be interested to see how Yeoman and Spook now work together, because now Yeoman has a good example of what it means to lead.
Yeah.
And he can become more well-rounded.
Yeah. Right.
And look at and work with Spook together because of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. He has that foundation of, like, the theory behind leading and managing a kingdom, like how Elend originally had. So yeah, they could really be collaborative and work on rebuilding this world together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, speaking of Spook, something that I don't think we've talked about or hit on yet, but Sazed writes in the letter as well, is that there's 2 more medals out there.
Oh, yeah.
That we don't know about.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's a big question going into the next iteration of Mistborn, I think. So
yeah,
I'd be interested to see how that all plays out.
Isn't there a book called The Lost Medals?
I don't know.
And the second era trilogy. So and the only reason I know that, not that I've had a lot of time to look into it, but when you're in Barnes and Nobles and you're just looking around the books and choosing. Yeah. I think I noticed that, and that was like Mistborn trilogy era 2, and one of the books I think was called The Lost Medals or something. Oh, cool. And so that made me think of that whenever I saw that, because Sazed even said, he was like, I think they would interest you, or I think that you would like them, or something like that. And so just like, ooh, what are they? What can they do? Yeah. I mean, we've already seen how amazing all these other medals have been. What more?
What else is
other
out there?
Abilities? Yeah.
That'd be cool. Okay, so my second thing is about Marsh and how he pulled Vin's earring out. And I just want to take a moment to appreciate Marsh here. I don't think I appreciated this action by Marsh as much as I should have when I first read the book, and reading it the second time around. Now I'm just really appreciating the character of Marsh. And just before taking the earring out from her ear, Vin noticed that Marsh had like over 20 spikes in his body.
That's insane.
The most of any Inquisitor ever.
Yeah.
And as we now know, the more spikes you have, the stronger Ruin's hold over you is.
Yeah.
So the fact that, like, I mean, just pulling out her earring seems like such a small action, but just like knowing that context really puts it into perspective how big of an action that actually was. But, he was still able to do that. And it actually mattered a whole lot. It made all the difference in the fight against Ruin. Because if not for that, Vin wouldn't have been able to take in the mist. And if Vin hadn't taken the mist, she wouldn't have been able to fight and kill Ruin.
Yeah.
So that Sazed could take up both of the powers of preservation and Ruin in the end. So like it did make all the difference just pulling out that ear. And the moment that really made this sink in for me was at the end when Marsh was about to die. After he pulled out the earring, Ruin got so mad at him and was like, I guess, causing some kind of pain or turmoil in his head because he was screaming in pain. But he thought to himself, in the end, Marsh had mattered. In the end, Marsh hadn't given up. He'd done Mare proud. And that moment really brought tears to my eyes, because in the first book, we found out that Mare, Kelsier's wife, like, she was part of the Ska rebellion, and Marsh led the Skaw rebellion for a little while before book 1. And he kind of gave up on the Skaw rebellion, but he was actually in love with Mare, but she ultimately chose Kelsier because he continued the rebellion and was leading it. And at the end of the day, he still loved Mare, and Marsh's purpose in the rebellion was to bring back the world as it used to be, because that was Mare's like number one wish, is to, you know, like she was the one that carried around that picture of the flower because she wanted the world to go back to that original world, and he did it for her, and it made all the difference. It was so incredible.
Yeah, that was honestly a really amazing scene. I kept waiting to see what Marsh would do, because he talked about it. He was like, he was biding his time. He knew he needed to strike back, but it was going to be in a very small way. And as he was torturing Ben, I'm like, he's completely lost. He is completely gone. There's no more Marsh there. He's literally breaking every single one of her bones, and he's even thinking about Kelsier as he's doing it. Kelsier saw her as a daughter and just kept breaking her bones and kept killing her. And I'm just like, where is Marsh? Why aren't you fighting back like you said you would? But then he did that, and I was just like, okay, here he is. I thought that we were going to get Marsh completely back. I was really sad to read that he was basically, after he did what he did with the earring, he was gone. Like, that's it. Marsh was gone. Ruin had completely taken over at that point, and that just made me really sad, because Vin never killed him. She was getting ready to kill him before she turned into preservation. So like, he didn't get the release that he was looking for, you know?
Yeah. It was Ellen that ultimately did. Like, they killed each other in that final battle.
Which,
but, like,
that also made me really upset. Like, I cannot believe it was Marsh who killed him. Like, when I read that, I was so upset that it was him. I'm like, you were supposed to be good, Marsh. He was supposed to be the good one, and you killed them both.
He was, though.
And he killed them both.
No, he didn't kill Vin.
He basically did whenever he broke her body, because that's how she was able to take in the mist and become preservation. Like, she basically died when she became that.
No, she took in the mist after he pulled the earring out. She wasn't dead.
I know, but she would have. I mean, she died when she became preservation, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, she was no longer Vin. She was a god at that point.
Yeah. I was waiting for Vin to figure out the earring.
She never did. Oh my god.
She never did.
I think I don't even know if it even clocked to her when
it still didn't.
When Marsh pulled out the earring, she was like, "Oh, finally." But like, she didn't think like, "Oh, it was because he pulled out my earring."
Oh,
she thought her plan worked.
Thing.
Yeah. She thought it was because she was like in a dire situation.
She thought her plan worked. Yeah.
God,
poor thing. Yeah, I was waiting on, and I guess I felt a little disappointment reading that she hadn't figured it out.
Yeah.
But with everything that you just said, Steph, I was like, oh, that makes it so much more impactful, because the earring was never part of Vin's story arc, really. It was part of Marsh's.
Yeah.
And to realize that makes his story arc feel more compelling, feels more complete.
Yeah.
Because he, even in just the tiniest way to fight back, that's all he could do. And to your point, he did have 20 spikes in him, which means Ruin was there. Yeah. And it took so much strength for him to just do that tiny thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Poor Marsh. He deserved way better. He really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This second time around reading this book really made me appreciate Marsh a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. He went through a lot, y'all.
Like, even just becoming an Inquisitor sounds traumatic, you know?
Yeah. And I was going to say, he only became an Inquisitor because his brother asked him to. Like, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do any of this.
Man on the inside.
Yeah. This is not what the life he wanted. So crazy.
That afterlife reunion would be awkward.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Just a tad.
Okay, you guys. So that is it for our discussion segment. So now we're going to go into our final reviews of this book. Ethan, let's hear your review.
We made it, y'all. Like, this was a journey.
It was.
So this is 5 stars, no question. If I had any critique about any part of this series, really, is that Sanderson gets too wordy sometimes. And I think that's probably a common critique of his throughout
That's fair.
any of his books. But I can't deny that it's beautifully written, because it is. If something is so bleak like this for so long, it takes a lot of mental willpower for me to read through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would even say trudge through it at that point, because it becomes a slog a little bit.
Yeah.
But the characters are so compelling and complex. The world building so masterfully crafted, and the action is so well done that it just propelled me forward, wanting to know more until the finish. And speaking of crossing that finish line, what a perfect way to end the series. A series ending in such a way that I don't really have any pressing questions that I feel were left unanswered.
Yeah.
Is so incredibly satisfying as a lover of fantasy fiction. Can't recommend it enough. This was great. 5 stars.
Yeah. Okay, so easily 5 stars for me as well. Like, what an incredible read. I mean, every single one has been a 5 stars from the first book to now. This trilogy will live with me always. I can't stop thinking about every single plot twist, every single reveal, every single character growth we experience through each book. Like, the ending will always be something that I continue to think about. It left me emotionally wrecked in the best way. Like, it was so dark, beautifully written. I honestly don't have any other words. Like, I'm telling you, you guys, I would stay up in the middle of the night thinking about how the end of the world was inevitable, like, because of this book. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how to move on, you guys. I really don't. This is such an incredible read.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Back to your perfect comment. I feel empty.
Yes. I just feel so empty. Like, what do I read now? Like, I don't even know that I want to dive into the rest of the Cosmere, because this one was just so perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wanted to share my initial review from Goodreads from when I first finished the book. So I said 6 stars. I will never be the same after this trilogy. It was incredible. And like nothing else. Like, I also was feeling so empty after reading this, Jen. I couldn't even like formulate any more words to describe how this book made me feel. And like after rereading it again, also still 6 stars for me.
Yeah.
The twist at the end came together so well. It still blew my mind reading it a second time, even though I knew what was coming. And I absolutely loved the experience of reading it again and reading it with you guys. And like seeing your reactions along the way. It was so much fun. This is my favorite, or not my favorite of all time, but one of my favorite books of all time. And I think it'll remain one of my favorite books for a long time. I picked up on so many other things this time around that I want to explore more and just like continue reading and learning more about the Cosmere. And, you know, especially like what I mentioned in one of my 3 things is like the history of ruin and preservation and why those 2 powers were separated. Like, who were those 2 men that took in those powers and separated them? I really want to know.
Yeah, that's great. We should read it next.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, book friends, that was our final deep dive discussion on The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, completing Mistborn Era 1 for us. Let's keep the discussion going. We are Books Between Friends Pod on all platforms. Thank you for interacting with us in our socials. We look forward to chatting with you all about this book and this series.
And no offense to the next author of the next book we're about to announce, but I don't know how to move on to this next book, honestly, after reading this. I really don't. I don't know how it's going to be the same. I feel like every discussion after this is going to be so flat for me, because there's just... Because the characters were just so compelling and complex, like Ethan said. Like, I don't know how to read other characters now. But with that being said, on our next episode, we are diving into Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. We will be discussing the prologue through chapter 9 as 2 rival hockey stars discover that the line between rivalry and romance is a lot blurrier than either of them expected. Ooh.
Completely different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Talk about whiplash. That's a wrap for Books Between Friends today. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next chapter.